Hello and welcome to my Marsinger UK Series 7 Episode 1 recap and review. My name is Marsinger Homie, content creator and the host of Marsinger Homie's Recap and Review podcast, where I talk about TV, music, celebrities, and so much more. If you're listening on Spotify and it's your first time listening to my podcast, please download the episode, follow the podcast, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything when a new episode drops. Or if you're watching on YouTube, please go and subscribe, turn on the notifications, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. And you can always follow me on my social media platforms, which is Instagram at MarsingerHomie and my YouTube channel, which is MarsingerHomie, which are all basically available to see on the thumbnail of this podcast if you're listening on Spotify. And what a week we got to talk about, because it was the premiere week for the Marsinger UK for Series 7. It was a fantastic week of talent. We saw Group A on Saturday, where we saw 5 of them. Yes, I say 5, because one of them, which we'll talk about in just a minute, was not seen in the episode because of quite a lot of stuff we'll talk about in a minute. And we saw Group B for the first time, which I'll probably do a video on that tomorrow, as I want to try and get the video for season 14 as well out very soon, talking about the costumes before the premiere tomorrow. So I'll try and get it out as soon as possible because I'm not as busy tomorrow, so which is a good sign. So without any further ado, I think we should just get straight into it. And also we had the two band leaders, which were Goldfish and Emperor Penguin. We're going to talk about Goldfish for this episode, and then Emperor Penguin for the next review. So let's just quickly talk about the elephant in the room, basically, with that being Red Panda. Now, you see, Red Panda was on the show, and he likely made it through, and he definitely made it through, but his performance was actually edited out because the song choice he sang. Now, his song choice that he did, which is now online, which it was "Burn Baby Burn" by the Temptations. Now, you may be wondering, oh, that's a harmless song. Don't know why that'd be edited out. Well, for context, there was an incident. There was an incident that happened in Switzerland where a fire broke out and quite a few people lost their lives. So I think that the ITV producers were a bit worried that they would offend people if they showed that, because it was quite recent ago. So I think it was a choice, which, to be honest with you, I could totally understand why. I think that was a choice well made, even though we didn't see the actual performance on the TV. At least we can see on YouTube, and yeah, it's an understandable reason why it was edited out, which I don't really. I can't really complain in a way, because I don't really I completely understand why it was actually edited out. Which again, I totally understand why. From the voice alone, when I heard it, I was hearing a bit of Vic Reeves, Milton Jones, maybe a bit of Bill Bailey. I think once we see him in action fully in episode 4, yeah, because next week's Group B again, so we'll hear Red Panda sing then, and yeah, we'll go from there, and then we'll go for the clues there. I probably won't do his review, his clues for episode 1. I might just do the visual clues, maybe, but you know. So, but that's Red Panda. But we're going to see him next week for sure, and I can't wait to see him fully in action. Now, before we get into the main show, let's talk about the Goldfish, who was the band leader for No Trout, and we had a live band for this, which was so cool. And I've always wanted a live band on the Mars Singer, because I just think it just makes the atmosphere more cooler. And the moment I heard Goldfish sing, and she sang ATP by Bruno Mars, or APT or something like that, by Bruno Mars, and can't remember the other woman's name, I always forget her name. But the moment she started singing, I knew instantly who it was. And also, one of the clues being a belt was an also giveaway, and it was none other than Anne Marie. And I mean, the moment she started singing, it was just a dead giveaway. And also some of the clues as well, because in the social media platform had a calculation clue which equaled 2002, which is the song of Anne Marie's, and the black belt, she does karate, and she has a black belt in that. So those clues were so dead on, and again, the voice was just a dead giveaway again. So Yeah, it was so obvious that it was her, and I'm so glad she did the show because as a guest, at least, because I've always wanted her on the show. I've always wanted her to be a contestant, and even though she wasn't the main contestant, she was still fantastic, and I really enjoyed seeing her again. She was just fantastic. I'm so glad she did the show, and she was on the panel for the remaining of the competition, or for the episode once the episode when after she got on Mask, which was awesome. So that's Anne Marie. So let's talk about the main performance of the night on the night. And again, I won't include Red Panda's performance because we didn't technically see it, even though it is available now. It'd be best not to talk about it right now. So let's talk about the first performance of the night from the TV airing, and that was Moth, who performed "Hero" by Mariah Carey. And I mean, I don't know what else to say other than it. This performance was just perfection, absolute beauty. I mean, thinking about it, like this was like this didn't feel like I was watching an opening performance. This felt like a performance that deserved to be in the final. That's how good it was, and it was just again. I mean, Mariah Carey is a challenging artist to take on because of her. She's one of the biggest stars out there, but my goodness me, she sang that song with absolute world class. I mean, her voice is just incredible, and Davina got emotional at the end, which honestly I can't disagree with that because her voice is just so incredible, and when Mariah when Mariah Carey sings that, it has a lot of emotion in it. So she absolutely bodied that performance. It was just, I think so far she has really set the bar high for the competition. I think she's definitely one to look out for, especially for Group A. I can't see anyone else in that group beating her. To be honest, I just think she's absolutely phenomenal. So my guess for Moth, and listening back to the voice after the show, it just clicked to me instantly who this was. All the clues match up, and I think this is none other than Keisha from the Sugar Babes. Now, what's her second name again? It's Keisha Bunchanan. I probably mispronounced that incorrectly, but I am convinced it's her, and the online community are all convinced too. Let's go. So let's just go through the clues that connect to her. So the blue jay, we saw a little blue jay on her shoulder, and that is a reference, I think, to Rock Nation, which is Jay-Z's record label that signed the Sugar Babes in 2009. The picture, we saw a picture of Robbie Corbett, who is a comedian who's no longer with us. Now, I actually managed to connect two of them here. So the Sugar Babes were formed thanks to Ron Tom, which ties back to Robbie Corbett. Or another reference here is that Ronnie actually was the voiceover of Ant and Dec's Push the Button, which was a short-lived entertainment show a few years ago. And Push the Button is the name of one of the Sugar Babes songs. So that is a pretty interesting little clue there. Time. She mentioned about having time served, and the group were infamous for having a revolving door of lineups. Keisha was the group from the start, from 1988 to 2009, and then she returned in 2013, and she's going on since. She said, "Lava, not a fighter." Now that is a little joke to one of the band's songs, "Lover, not a fighter." Um, Served in the West. Now this made me think of has she ever done the West End? Has the Sugar Babes ever done the West End or anything? Well, she was actually born in in Westminster and lived in West London growing up. So that's a little clue there. The Carrot. Now this is a clue I had to connect here, and you may not believe what I found here. Now I think that is a reference to one of the group's songs, "Snug as a Bug," because when you think about it, the carrot makes you think of Bugs Bunny, and the sugar bug is one of the band's nicknames. So if you put the piece by piece together, yeah, that could be a reference there. I might need help with the carrot clue, but the other clues, and just the voice is just an absolute dead giveaway. It's so obvious it's her, and honestly, I'm so glad we got a Sugar Babe star on the show because again, she's just absolutely incredible. And honestly, could we have the second girl group winner since Nicola Roberts to actually take home the victory? That could be very possible because we had that with Nicola Roberts in Series 1, and then the other two were Danny Jones and Charlie Simpson back to back. Um, yeah, it's so obvious it's her, and I kind of want her to win already. I think this was just a phenomenal first performance from her. Now we go on to the contestant that was eliminated this week, and that was Disc Jockey. He performed Pink Pony Club by Chapel Road, and I have to say, I thought she was actually pretty good. Because I actually thought she had a nice voice. She was entertaining, and yeah, I was actually a little bit surprised she went high. She went home, to be honest, because I thought she had a decent voice, and she really worked the crowd as well. I thought she did really well on that. But it was revealed to be none other than Alex Jones from the One Show. I don't know why I said Alex Scott there. That's the football player. Alex Jones from the One Show, which honestly I would not have got in a million years. I've seen her on the One Show. I've seen her, and she's brilliant on there. But I was just not expecting her at all. I mean, and also, girl, can that woman sing? She's actually got a really good singing voice. Like she sang the song really well. And to be honest with you, I am a bit gutted that she did get voted out first because I thought she did really well on the Chaperone song. So yeah. Well, I don't, and also she actually wasn't the worst of the night as well. I think she was definitely someone I think could have made at least maybe one or two rounds, maybe two more rounds, maybe at least, because she had some vocal chops there. She could definitely carry a tune. Yeah, so I thought she did really well on that. But yeah, again, I thought she did great. It's a shame that she went home first, but nonetheless, she did very well. So good on her. Now we go on to the Gargoyle who performed. I need to find this song out quickly because I forgot what the song is called, but it's by the Sister Sisters. I know that for a fact. Let me go to Wikipedia just to double check. Series overview. Just give me a second, everybody. And the song that did there was "Filthy Gorgeous" by Scissor Sisters. That's the song there. And I must admit, it wasn't my favorite of the night. Like, I do think she may be someone holding back on their voice, especially coming from my guest here. But I still thought it was a good performance overall. A very good song choice. She definitely worked the crowd well. So the guess I have for Gargoyle, I did have a few guesses in mind, like Toya Wilcox. I think another one I had was I can't remember her name. She's an actress. But once I started connecting the clues and hearing the voice back, I was like, okay, I definitely know who this is now, and I'm very confident it's Marcella Detroit from Shakespeare's Sister, and if this is her, good on her because she's really kind of like throwing her voice off or kind of like really holding back her voice because she is a very good singer, especially if you listen to her music. So let's go through the clues for Gargoyle. We saw January the 13th on the calendar, which was a Saturday. Now, that made me think of the Saturdays, which originally made me think of Frankie Bridge from the Saturdays. Well, the release date for her single Stay was on January the 13th, 1992. So that's a very good clue there. We saw the picture of Sally Webster. Sally Webster. Then she faced the picture down that she co-wrote Lay Down Sally by Eric Clapton. She co-wrote that song with him, so that's a good little nod there. She mentioned Prima Donna. She was on Pop Star to Opera Star. The Punk Jacket with 1976. She also worked with Eric Clapton with No Reason to Cry in 1976. And being pigeonholed, she was actually pigeonholed as a backup singer for Big Stars before joining Siobhan in Shakespeare's Sister, which is when they got their fame. So those were the clues I managed to connect to her. Of course, there could be some other clues that maybe that could have some help on. So if there's any other clues out there that you're able to fit, let me know in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube and the podcast as well, that would be very awesome. But I'm very confident it is Marcella Detroit from Shakespeare's Sister. Now we go on to the definitely the most entertaining performance of the night, and that was the Sloth who performed "Break My Stride" by Matthew Wilder. A good tune as well, that is, and he really worked the crowd with his entertainment performance. Like he gives me real Bigfoot vibes, like with the amount of entertainment factor he has. I hope he doesn't make it too far in the competition. I don't want to see another Bigfoot situation, but he definitely worked his own. I thought he was very entertaining, very engaging with the audience, and you can tell while he wasn't the most perfect singer of the night, he was definitely he brought up with enthusiasm, which I love seeing. So now the guests I have for Sloth here, I've seen many different guests out there, being Bob Mortimer. I've seen Alex Horn from Taskmaster, Craig Childs, but the guests I have here, and this I could be wrong in this guess, but some of the clues I managed to pick up on, and the speaking voice, maybe not so much the singing voice, I definitely recognise. So my guess for Sloth is Joe Lycett. Now, Joe Lycett, he was guest on as Kingfisher, and I've always wanted to see Joe on the show, and so here are some of the clues I've been able to match with Joe Lycett. So we saw the handcuffs, and he actually once got investigated by the police after an audience member complained about a joke that was offensive at one of his comedy shows. The Jungle, this could be a bit of a stretch here, but he did a photo shoot for a magazine wearing a Chameleon X jungle suit. Don't know if that if that works. He said good morning, and he's made an appearance on the Big Breakfast. The swimming pool, I managed to get two of these clues here. So one of his artworks is called Flamboyant, which includes a pool, but he also made an appearance in the Paris Olympics, taking part in the swimming relay. So that is a very, very. Those are some of the clues I managed to connect there. And again, my guess on Joe Lycett isn't the most confident, but I would love it if it was him, because I absolutely love Joe Lycett. He's so funny. I love what he does. Very talented guy, very nice guy as well. But I would love to see it. I would love it if it was Joe Lycett. Again, maybe once we see him next time, maybe the clues will really be throwing off. But I really hope this is Joe Lycett. I'm going with Joe Lycett for my guess here. But again, I could be wrong. But we'll find out when that happens. And now we go on to the final performance of the night, which was Can of Worms, who performed Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast, an all-time classic film. And he performed it really well. He definitely showed some really good vocal range in the performance. I do think he's maybe holding back his voice a little bit, because I could definitely tell there's a musical theatre voice out there. So that's definitely something I'm looking out to see, because if once we see him possibly the merger or something, he could really give us a belt of a performance, which would be awesome to see. But he has shown some great promise here, and I'd love to see him go far in the competition, as I just think he's going to be one of those he's going to be one of those contestants that's going to really up their game and really change it every week, which I'm very excited to see. So the guess I have for Can of Worms, I must admit, some of the guesses out there I've been seeing have been Ben Shepherd as one of the guesses. I don't think that's Ben Shepherd's voice, and also he's apparently going to be one of the panelists on episode 4, so that's going to be knocking him out the window. But the voice alone, especially in that VT, I know this person can do a very good American accent, as he played an American on the West End and in TV, and the whole musical theatre vibes lead me to this one person, John Barrowman. Now, again, I think just hearing the voice, it sounds very much like his voice, like his stuff here. So the clues I managed to connect. So the American accent he had in the VT, like I mentioned, that could be a nod to him, I know he can do a very good American accent, because he played an American character, which was Captain Jack Harkness in Doctor Who, and he's also half American, half Scottish. And like I mentioned, he played an American on the West End. The pastries we saw there, I think one of them could be this could be a possible stretch. He appeared on Sunday Brunch, where he did some cooking, but he also once took a trip to Paisley Pico in Causeyside Street, on Causeyside Street, my apologies. So that could be a little thing there. Written in the Stars, that is a musical, and he hasn't been on. He hasn't starred in Written in the Stars, but it's a musical on the West End. He's done the West End, and he's done, and that's Written in the Stars. One of the songs on there was on the Love Songs from the musical CD, which John Barrowman did a few songs on there, which I think that could be a little cryptic there. Um, he mentioned Stoke, which is a town in England, and he has performed at the Regent Theatre in Victoria Hall in Stoke-on-Trent. The Early Bird. This is again. I could be very wrong on this, but this could be a connection to his 2024 to 2025 concert tour, Laid Bare, where he offered early access bird tickets. So maybe that could be there. And then we saw the photo of Ray and Hammond, who are from Top Gear, and he once participated in a segment for Top Gear's rival motoring show, Fifth Gear, in 2009. So those were some of the clues I could manage to connect for John Barrowman. Again, I could be wrong because I must admit, when I first heard it, I thought this was going to be Professor Green, but he was Teabag, so which we'll get onto next tomorrow probably. But again, the voice alone just gives me really strong John Barrowman vibes, and I would love it if it was John because I've been wanting him on the show for so long, and I think to see him on the show would just be it would just be fantastic. I absolutely love his voice, and I just think it'd be great to see him on the show. I think, and if this is him, I cannot wait to see what he does because, especially with just whoever it is underneath the can of worms, I think they really are doing a good job of like holding their voice a little bit back because I think there's definitely some more capability he's got in there. So I can't wait to see what he does next for his next performance. So there you have it. That is my review for episode 1 of the Masked Singer UK. Let me know your thoughts down below. What you thought for the episode? Did you agree with the results? And what are your guesses for the remaining contestants? And of course, once we see Red Panda again officially, I'll do a video on that. I'll do official guess for him because listening to the voice alone, I just got the vibe of Bill Bailey and like Milton Jones and Vic Reeves. But yeah, I thought it was a really good episode overall for the first episode. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing my review on episode 2, so please stay tuned for that on the podcast when you hear it or when you see you'll get notified, of course. But that is it for my review on episode 1 of The Masked Singer. Thank you so much for listening to my review. Stay tuned for tomorrow's review when I talk about The Masked Singer UK episode 2 performances, as that episode was fantastic as well. But once again, thank you so much for listening to this week's review of The Masked Singer UK. And of course, I will see you guys next time.